So hi everybody, welcome back to our CMA classes. So let's resume our direct taxation classes for CA and CMA final students. Okay, so let's start with the section best judgment under section 144. Okay, so why is this section made? Okay, as the name says, best judgment, right? The assessing officer is going to pass the best judgment. But in what are the cases, what are the circumstances where the assessing officer is going for the best judgment under section 144? Let's go for it now. Okay, so in case of failure to furnish written under section 139, okay, we know in 139 we have different categories like 139 subsection 1, 4, 5 and all. Okay, so those are the written covered under section 139 is going to be here. Okay, so the furnish written under section 139 subsection 1, subsection 4, subsection 5 and subsection 8a. Okay, in case of failure of furnish of written under section these 139. So I am going to say it as section 139. Okay, hope so this is clear. Yes, there was nothing much. Let's go for the other thing. Failure to comply with the notice under section 142 subsection 1. Now you have to tell me which section. We have already covered this section. You have to comment below. Okay, you have to tell the name of section. Okay, so in case of failure to complying with section 142 subsection 1. So let me write here. First was of under section 139. Okay, second was of under section 142 subsection 1. Let's go for the other part which saying failure to comply with the direction issued under section 142 subsection 2a. Subsection 2 is of special audit now. Okay, so this is for 142 subsection 2a. Subsection 1 was also covered, subsection 2 is also covered. Okay, let's go for the last point which is saying complying with notice, failure to complying with notice under section 143 subsection 2. So this is going to be 143 subsection 2 which is of scrutiny notice. Okay, what was the time limit of scrutiny notice? Comment below. Chalo, theek hai, let me say it again. So failure in case of what? To furnish the written under section 139, okay, related to 1 subsection 1, 4 and 5, 8 and all. Okay. Then another thing says about the complying notice under section 142 subsection 1. Again 142 2a special audit. Okay. And what was the last? 143 subsection 2 which says about the scrutiny notice. Okay. Time limit, don't forget, comment below. Okay. These are the things in case the SSC failure to do any of these things, any of these 4 circumstances. In that case, the assessing officer is going to pass the best judgment. Okay. But do you think the assessing officer is going to give one opportunity to the SSC? Yes. So before passing a best judgment assessment, scrutiny notice, show cause notice is issued and opportunity of being heard is given to the SSC. Okay. But in one case, opportunity of being heard is not given in section 142 subsection 1. Okay. Earlier we also read it in some section, remember? So the same thing as per 142 subsection 1, opportunity of being heard is not given. Okay. So these are the things, circumstances where best judgment is going to be passed. So let's read now what is the section saying. Section 144 best judgment assessment. Fail where any person fails to make written under section 139 subsection 1, 139 subsection 4, 139 subsection 5, depending upon the circumstances, fails to comply with all of the terms of notice issued under 142 subsection 1, direction issued by under section 42a, which is, can I write it 142 subsection 1 and 142 2a? Okay, okay ji. Third says failure to comply with all the terms of notice issued under subsection 2 of section 143. So can I write it 143 ka subsection 2? Remember? हाँ जी, ठीक है. The assessing officer, after taking into account of all the relevant material which has gathered, shall, after giving the SSC an opportunity of being heard, not necessary in case of under section notice under section 142 subsection 1. So in case opportunity of being heard is not given in this case, okay, for other cases opportunity of being heard is given. Make an assessment of the total income or loss of the best of his judgment and determine the sum payable by the assessee on behalf of such assessment, provided that such opportunity shall be given by the assessing officer by serving a notice calling upon the assessor to show cause, a date and a time to be specified in the notice, and the assessment should not be completed to the best judgment of the his best judgment. Note, the assessing officer under this section cannot assess income below the income return or cannot access the loss higher than the income returned income, okay, returned income of the assessment year. So in simple language, can I say there are 4 cases, 4 circumstances where the assessing officer is going to pass the best judgment, okay, when he haven't the assessee have not replied within the time limit which is specified in the under the notice which was given by by the assessing officer to the assessee, okay. In that case, in case of 139, okay, in case of 142 subsection 1, in case of 142 2A special order, in case of 143 and subsection 2, okay. In these cases only the assessing officer is going to do the best judgment, okay. But best judge for this opportunity of being heard is given, that's it, nothing else guys. And what is going to the time limit, let's go for it. Assessment under section 144 should be completed under order passed within 12 months from the end of relevant assessment year. So this is the time limit guys, okay, limit, sorry, spelling mistake, 12 months, within the 12 months from the end of relevant assessment year, okay, the assessment should be completed under section 144 best judgment, okay. Let's go for section 144A, which is of power of joint commissioner to issue direction in certain cases. So what are the cases, circumstances where joint commissioner is going to pass the order, okay. Do you think a joint commissioner is going to pass the order on basis of suo motu, or the SSC have given the have applied for the application and all, or on basis of the assessing officer, okay. So let's go for it, and whether the order passed by joint commissioner is going to be bind on assessing, definitely it's going to bind on assessing, right, whether it's going to be bind on the assessing officer, income tax other officers, okay. So let's go for it. Section 144A says about the power of joint commissioner to issue the direction in certain cases. It empowers the joint commissioner to issue direction for the guidance of assessing officer to ensure him to complete the assessment, and such direction shall be binding on the assessing officer. So which I have already asked you, whether it's going to bind on assessing officer, yes, definitely it's going to be bind on the assessing officer. So the direction can be issued by joint commissioner on either own motion, okay. So can I write him here, joint commissioner going to issue, right, in cases of what, either own motion or the application by the SSC or reference made by assessing officer. So there are 3 different cases the joint commissioner is going to pass the order, right. First, own motion, wherever he have the information regarding this case ki there is something, messy, okay. So in that case joint commissioner is going to pass the order, okay. Second, application made by whom, the SSC. Third, the reference is given by whom, the assessing officer, okay. In these 3 cases the joint commissioner is going to issue the directions, okay. Before issuing any direction, do you think best opportunity of being heard is given in this case? Let's go for it now, okay. Before issuing any direction which is prejudicial to the SSC, the SSC shall give an opportunity of being heard. So here again opportunity of being heard is given to the SSC before passing the order, okay. Before finalizing the order, the joint commissioner is going to give opportunity of being heard to whom, to the SSC, okay. However, direction as to line on which an investigation connected with the assessment should be made shall not deem to be direction on the prejudicial to the SSC, okay. Hope so this point was also clear. Section 144, power of whom, power of the joint commissioner to issue directions, okay. So let's go for the dispute resolution panel under section 144C. Now you guys have to tell me why dispute resolution panel is formed. Definitely, as the name is saying, dispute, when dispute have been arised, okay. In that case, the assessing officer, the SSC, whoever, they're going for to solve the dispute, right? So let's go for this section 144, which is of dispute resolution panel. Can I write it DRP? Yes. Okay. So the dispute resolution panel means a collegium comprising of 3 principal commissioner or commissioner of the income tax, constituted by whom? Constituted by the board for this purpose. Okay, which purpose? For the purpose. Let's find out. Eligible SSC means the following SSC in which whose the assessing officer purpose to make a variation which is prejudicial to the interest of the SSC, or any person in whose case such variation arise as a consequence of the order of transfer pricing officer passed under section 92 CA. So can I write the eligible SSC is going to be whom? The means the assessing in whose the case assessing officer proposed to make a variation, where the assessing officer make a variation, okay, variation which is related to what? Prejudicial to the interest of such SSC, okay. In that case, the eligible SSC going to that person or any person कौन सा वाला? ट्रांसफर प्राइसिंग ऑफिसर वाला, who have passed the order under section 92 CA, okay, consequences of the order of transfer pricing officer 92 CA, okay, that person is also eligible person. Or any non-resident, not being a company here, so any non-resident or any foreign company, okay, and draft assessment order to be forwarded to eligible SSC by the assessing officer, accepting of filing of the objection by the SSC with DRP and AO within 30 days of draft order, and assessment in accordance with draft order in cases of same is accepted or not objected within the time limit. Assessment is to be completed within 1 month from the end on which acceptance is received on the period of filing of object. So can I say first of all who are going to be the eligible SSC? First, the person whose variation was arised which is related prejudicial to the interest of the SSC. First, those person under was कौन सा वाला transfer pricing officer have passed the order, ठीक है, और non-resident, ठीक है, other than the company or the foreign company, can I say this? हाँ जी, ठीक है. Last, draft assessment. The draft assessment, okay, order is to be forwarded to the eligible SSC by the assessing officer. Okay, once this thing happens, the draft is going to be forwarded by whom? By the assessing officer to the SSC, okay, where the accepting of filing or objection by the SSC with DRP and AO will within 30 days of, ठीक है. Hope so this was also clear, ठीक है. And assessment should be completed within how much time limit? The 1 month from the end of month in which acceptance was received. Hope so this was clear, ठीक है. What are the power of this DRP now? We have to understand. DRP may, so do you think DRP is going to reduce, give some of the relief to the SSC? So yes, there are some cases where this is going to be happen. So let's go for it now. Power and the procedure of the dispute resolution panel. The DRP may confirm, reduce or enhance, okay. They can either reduce, definitely we know this, or they can enhance the variation proposed in the draft order, okay. Draft order by whom? The assessing officer is to be given to whom? To the SSC, right? So okay, either DRP may confirm the draft order which is made by assessing officer, or can reduce or can enhance, okay. However, it shall not set aside any proposed variation or issue any direction for further inquiry in passing the assessment order, okay. Decision by majority in case of difference of opinion among DRP member, direction of panel binding on the assessing officer. So definitely whatever the order is passed by DRP, it's going to be binding on assessing officer, okay. Opportunity of being heard is definitely going to be given, ठीक है, to the parties before the issuing such direction. Hope so this is also clear. Yes. What is going to be time limit? Time limit of issue of direction 9 months from the end of month in which draft order is forwarded to the eligible SSC, okay. So as I told you, once the draft order is made, okay, that draft order is to be passed to whom? To the SSC, we know this, okay, and that is definitely the DRP is having that order, right? That order in that draft order, the DRP either going to confirm that draft order, okay, either going to increase ठीक है, proportions or going to decrease any variations, ठीक है, this is clear, okay, ठीक है. And before making the judgment, the opportunity of being heard is given to the SSC, okay, and the decision is to be, final order is to be made within 9 months from the end of which the draft order is forwarded to the SSC, eligible SSC. And we know this, who is going to be eligible SSC, right? Okay, these SSC, let me write, these are the SSCs, these are the SSCs, ठीक है, these are the SSCs, okay जी. Assessment to be within 1 month from the end of month in which direction is received, okay. The central government is empowered to notify faceless scheme for the purpose of issuers guidance by the dispute resolution panel. So later on it's going to be faceless scheme, okay. So hope so this point was also clear, section 144C, okay. So let's go for the protective assessment. You might have heard about the protective assessment. What is now this protective assessment, yaar? This is, I'll tell you, sometimes it may happen that one particular income is assessed in one or more than one hand. How can be that possible? That one particular is going to be assessed on two SSC. How can be it possible? So let me give an example. For example, Mr. X, okay, he is having two sons. Okay, he is having two sons. Name is Mr. A and Mr. B. Okay. Now, there is a property of Mr. X. There are some other properties also, but as per the will of Mr. X, that property is, the name of property is not mentioned. I mean the person who is going to hold that property, okay, wasiyat जिसको बोलते हैं I guess, ठीक है. The legal hire, okay, definitely there are two legal hire, but right now we don't know who is going to be the legal hire, the permanent legal hire in that property case, ठीक है. So what happens, the dispute is there, the income is either going to be taxable in hand of Mr. A or going to be taxable in hand of Mr. B, right? Because there is no Mr. X, okay, Mr. X passed away, okay. So in that case, either it's going to be income of Mr. A or income of Mr. B, okay. So but how can we compute that income in both of the SSC? It's not possible, right? So what happens, there is a law, there is something which is known as protective assessment, where the department want to protect their income, because once the income is raised, what is going to happen, taxability is going to be raised, right? So department want to save their tax because they want that tax, right? They want the revenue of their source, right? So this is what happens. I'll say it again, sometimes it may happen that one particular income, this income, the property wala income, okay, property wala income is assessed in one or more than one, definitely more than one, okay. One assessing officer is treating the same income in hand of A and the same income might be treated in the hand of B. The rented income of that property, right, is computed in Mr. A's total income, and definitely it's going to be computed on Mr. B's total income. But is it going to be applied for whole time or the lifetime? No. Once the last judgment is going to be passed, okay, up to till that day only, it's going to be computed in both of the total income. After all, for example, it's the wasiyat of Mr. B, means it's going to be the property of Mr. B. In that case, definitely in his hand is going to be taxable, and his hand it's not going to be taxable. Okay. So by some different assessing officer, and sometimes same officer may assess the same income in hand of one person and also in hand of other family also. It has been held by the Supreme Court in Lalji Haridas versus ITU that the officer may, when in doubt, to safeguard the interest of revenue. Okay, interest of revenue of whom? They are talking about this, to safeguard the interest of revenue of the department, income tax department. Okay, access it in more than one hand. But this procedure is allowed at the level of assessment. Only at higher level it is possible to clear findings, and who is really liable to access the leaving the one. In such case, department should provide relief to sui motu to one of them until and unless the last final decision is passed. Okay, this would be continue. Okay, hope so this clear, this is also clear. Let's go for the very main section 147, income escaping in assessment. Okay, so they are different section in this part, one up from 148 to 153. Let me write here section 148 to 153. Okay, so this is a very large section we have to cover, so please listen to me very carefully. Let's start it. What is this income escaping assessment or reassessment under section 147? If the income chargeable of tax has escaped the assessment. Let me say it again. If the income chargeable to tax has escaped the assessment of any assessment, then definitely the assessing officer may access or reassess the income of such assessment subject to the provision of section 148 to 153. In any of the case, if any of the case the income have been escaped by the SSC, in that case this section 147 is going to be imposed. Okay, yes. For making assessment under section 147, assessing office is bound to serve section 149. Let me read it. I'll tell you everything, don't get confused here. Okay, so they are saying for making this assessment under section 147, the assessing officer is bound to serve notice under section 148. We know this, okay, because we have read about the scrutiny notice and order and all. Okay, so in different section there are different notice and all is going to be passed, right, and the final order is going to pass in some another section, remember na? Hanji. And another thing, notice under section 148 can be served only after following procedure given under section 148A. Let me read one more point, which is C, saying during the assessment is found some other income is schemed from the same assessment, then the assessing officer access or re-access such income without showing fresh notice of issue under section 148 without passing 148A. So can I say it now? Yes, let's go for it. First of all, when is this income escape assessment is going to be possible? Either the SSC have escaped his income, okay, he's not shown his income, some particular income, let's say, okay, in his return. In that case, this section is going to be imposed, okay, but this section is saying to pass for the income escape assessment, the person for making assessment under section 147, AO is bound to send notice under section 148. Okay, hope so up to this is clear. For making the assessment under section 147, the AO have to pass the notice under section 148. Itna theek hai? Hanji, theek hai. Let's go for the other part. Notice under section 148. Notice under section 148 can only be served after following the procedure given under section 148A. Okay, notice is to be passed under section 148. ठीक है ना? हाँ जी, ठीक है. But for passing that order, that notice under section 148, ठीक है. Before passing that notice, the procedure given under section 148A is to be followed. Okay, so can I write this is going to be first step. First step is going to be notice under section 148 can only be served. Okay, we are going to read it in reverse way. Okay, notice under section 148 can only be served after following procedure given under section 148. Okay, so 148A is going to be step first. Okay, there are some procedure written in the section in this part where this is to be followed. Once this is followed, section 148 notice is served. Later on, the assessment is going to be happen in under section 147. Okay, so some of the procedure under section 148A is to be followed. Notice under section 148 is going to be issued. Okay, later on 147 ka assessment is going to be happen. Okay, this is what they are saying. Okay, what if one more thing. What if any other assessment is already escaped by the SSC and the assessing officer find out that the SSC have already escaped one more income. In that case, do you think there is need of fresh issue of notice? No. Okay, in that case, there is no need to issue the fresh notice under section 148. Okay, and without passing order of 148A, that's going to be assessment is going to be happen. Okay, under same assessment. So this was about the point C. So hope so up to this everything is clear now. 148A procedure is to be followed. 148A, then 148 notice is to be issued, then process assessment under section 147 is going to be happen. Hope so up to this everything is clear. Let's go for the main part now. Okay guys, so step 1 says notice is to be issued for the assessment year for which the income have escaped assessed subject to the following compliance stipulated under section 148A. Okay, either if the assessing officer have the information, ठीक है, on that information the inquiry is going to be happen, ठीक है, inquiry is going to be conducted, ठीक है. After the inquiry is conducted, opportunity of being heard is given to the assessee. Okay, so first of all what is going to happen, the information, there is some information which is related to the assessee, ठीक है, and assessing officer having that information with them, ठीक है. On basis of that information the inquiry is going to be conducted. Okay, so let's read now. Conducting an inquiry if required on the basis of information which was gathered by the assessing officer, ठीक है. For this the prior approval of higher authority is to be taken. Okay, and second they are saying once this step is done, ठीक है, but for this step also they have to take the prior approval of whom, the higher authority. So let's find out who are the higher authority in this case. Okay, higher authority under section 1, sorry, there is some time limit, ठीक है, there is some time limit, then later on there would be the higher authority, ठीक है. So what is the time limit of issuing that notice? Within 3 years from the end of relevant assessment year in which income is escaped. Okay, and if total income exceeds 50 lakh, in that case within 10 years from the end of relevant assessment year in which income is escaped. Okay, let's go for the higher authority now. In case of approval of higher authority under section 151 within 3 years from the end of relevant assessment year. Okay, within 3 years, ये वाला part from the approval is to be taken from CIT, PCIT, DIT, PDIT. Okay, in case of the time limit wait 3 years from the end of relevant assessment year in which income is escaped, in that case the approval is to be taken by whom? CIT, PCIT, DIT, PDIT. Okay, but what about after 3 years, which means, ठीक है, after 3 years, then in that case PCCIT, PDJIT, CCIT, DGIT. So they are the higher authority. So let's go back where they are saying information is gathered, right, inquiry is to be done, ठीक है, for that the approval from the higher authority under section 151, ठीक है ना, under section 151 is to be done, ठीक है. Once this is done, the opportunity of being heard is given to whom? To the assessing serving a show cause notice, ठीक है, which show cause notice is to be served to the assessee, ठीक है. Opportunity of being heard is given. Okay, after this is clear? Yes. Okay, assessee have to reply within time period given in the show cause notice. Okay, time period is 7 days but cannot be more than 30 days from the date of issue of show cause notice. So AO can extend this time period. Okay, so the time period is going to be 7 days. Within this time period the assessee have to reply, right. Maximum definitely it cannot be extended more than 30, but AO can grant the relief. Okay, so this was the time limit. Deciding based on the material available on the record including the reply of the assessee in response to the show cause notice, decide whether or not it fit case issue the notice under section 148, ठीक है. So once these things are done, inquiry, opportunity, in this inquiry, ठीक है, higher authority वाला approval is to be taken, and what was the time limit? 3 year, 10 year, ठीक है ना, 10 year in case of 50 lakh से ऊपर वाला, ठीक है. And what were the authorities? Remember? Yes. Okay. And what was the reply time limit? 7 days, not extended up to 30 days, more than 30 days, but in some cases that can be granted, ठीक है. So hope so this up to this everything is clear, right. So on the basis of these material factors the assessing officer is going to determine whether they should issue notice under section 148 to the assessee or not. Okay, so order is passed and under section 148A subsection D with approval of authority, ठीक है, AO will serve notice under section 148. Okay, once everything is clear on the basis of above material factors, ठीक है, the assessing officer is going to determine whether notice under section 148 is to be served or not. ठीक है. फ्रॉम दैट 148, ठीक है, नोटिस along with that the 148A का order is also to be served to the assessing, ठीक है. So AO will serve notice under section 148 along with a copy of order passed. Okay, hope so this was clear. So from the end of month the order is to be passed in which the reply show cause notice was received by the AO, okay, in which extension time period was granted, okay. But there are some cases where the AO have not to pass the order under section 148A. Directly he can issue the notice under section 148, okay, and they are in case of search initiative under section 139, 132, 132, survey conducted under section 133A other than TDS and TCS, ठीक है. Any money, bullion, jewelry or any other valuable article of things or other book of accounts, documents seized or requisition in case of any other person belonging to SSC. So there are three cases, ठीक है. So there are three cases. In these three cases no order of 148A is to be passed, ठीक है. Direct notice of 148 is to be passed, not 148A का order वाला, ठीक है. So they are search initiated under section 132, survey conducted 133A, and if any of the book of other than book of documents seized in requisition which is related to the other person, SSC से belong कर रहा है, ठीक है. In that case also these thing is not going to be applied. 148A का order, 148A का order is not required, ठीक है. Direct notice is to be served, okay. Up to this is clear, hope so, ठीक है. So let me wind up, ठीक है. नहीं, there is more things written in the section, but let me rewind everything what was written in the section. Information, on the basis of information the inquiry is going to be conducted, ठीक है ना. Second, what was the other thing, opportunity of being heard, right. Show cause notice is to be served, ठीक है, with approval of higher authority, ठीक है. What was the time limit, 3 year, 10 year, and what about the higher authority 151 में higher authority is to be approval is to be taken, ठीक है. इतना तक लिया, yes. Then show cause notice, right, replies to be given within 7 days, okay, not more than 30 days, but AO can extend that, ठीक है. Hope so this was clear. And on the basis of these material factor the A is going to be determine whether issue of notice under section 148 is to be done or not, ठीक है. Once this is going to happen, but there are some three cases ना जहाँ पे this is not going to be happen, right. Section 132, 33A and person who is related to the SSC, okay. These three cases it is not going to be happen. So you have now things come, ठीक है, as we have read about 148A, ठीक है. We know the notice is to be served, ठीक है. But now what are the conditions when the notice is actually going to be served, ठीक है. We read about the order procedure now, ठीक है. First part is complete. So can I write here कि first part, this part is complete, ठीक है. Let's go for the second part where the notice is actually issued, ठीक है. So department notice under section 148 is only going to be served in three condition. Let me say it again, it's going to be served only in the three condition. First, department have information regarding the information escaping, ठीक है. If the income, the department is having any of the information related to the escaping income, in that case only first condition says this, ठीक है. Second condition says the AO has obtained the approval of higher authority under section 151, as already 148 is saying that they have to take the approval of higher authority, so we know this, ठीक है. Third, procedure to be followed under section 148A order वाला, ठीक है. We know this also. So we have to find out what are the information which is related to income escaping, ठीक है. This is the other question to us. So as per CBDT, risk management strategy is flag, ठीक है, which we can say RMS is flagged, ठीक है. risk management strategy is flagged, ठीक है. Second, audit objection. Second is about the audit objection. Third is about the information received under section DTA. कौन सा वाला section? 90 and 90A वाला section, ठीक है. Information made available to assessing officer under scheme notified under 135A, ठीक है. This is again the another information they are saying about. And last, any information which is related to action and consequences or order of whom, the tribunal or the court, okay. So can I say there are three condition, ठीक है. The notice can only be issued, and with that notice the order under section 148 is to be served along with the notice. ठीक है. So what are the three conditions? If the department is having any of the information related to income escaping of that SSC, first higher authority, second 151 section है, third says about 148A का procedure है. ठीक है. We know this. ठीक है. We are very cool. We know this. ठीक है. But now what are the information? Risk management strategy वाला, ठीक है, ऑडिट ऑब्जेक्शन वाला, DTA 1990A वाला, ठीक है, 15A वाला एंड लास्ट ट्रिब्यूनल वाला. ठीक है. ओके, दीज आर द इंफॉर्मेशन. सो नाउ लेट्स गो फॉर इट नाउ. ठीक है. इशू ऑफ नोटिस अंडर सेक्शन 148. बिफोर मेकिंग द असेसमेंट, रीअसेसमेंट और रिकम्प्यूटेशन अंडर सेक्शन 147, द असेसिंग ऑफिसर shall serve on SSC on notice along with the copy of order. कौन सा वाला order? 148A. They are talking about the 148A order. Okay. If required under section 148D, 148A subsection D, requiring him to furnish within 3 months from the end of month in which notice is issued or further period, as may be allowed by the assessing officer on the basis of application made by the assessing return of his income or income of the other person in respect of the assessing. So earlier there was no time limit. Now it's amended and the time limit is within 3 months. Within 3 months from the end of month in which the notice is served, in which the notice is issued, or the further period which is allowed by the assessing officer. ठीक है. So within this time period the SSC have to refile the return. ठीक है. So what if the SSC says कि I've already filed the return of this year, of this particular 2021 year. So is it possible you can adjust by this return by seeing the return of this 2021 year? No. Even though the SSC have filed the return of that particular, even though he have to reassess the file, I mean he have to refile, he have the return, he have to refile the return. Okay, hope so this part was clear. So what is the time limit? 3 months. 3 months from the end in which issue of notice or the furtherance time period which is granted by whom? The assessing officer. ठीक है. So there are 3 conditions, right? If the department is having information related to income escaping, ठीक है ना, 151 income authority approval is to be taken from the higher authority, or 148A related to that order. Remember कौन सा वाला order? The inquiry is going to be conducted, right? And the opportunity of being heard is given. For this inquiry also they have to take the approval from the higher authority. 7 time period limit was showcase notice. They have to reply. The SSC have to reply, right? 7, not more than 30. But some cases the AO can grant the relief. I mean extend, give the extension. ठीक है. Hope so this was also cleared. Okay. So yes, हाँ, there were 3 cases which not going to be applied. कौन सा वाला? 148A वाला order is not going to be applied. A direct notice under section 148, they can issue the notice under section 148. ठीक है. In case of search, ठीक है, in case of survey and the SSCs, whoever is connected to the SSC. ठीक है. So we have read about the time limit, 151 approval. So let's go for the time limit now which have written as per the law. Time limit section 149, time limit for the issue of notice under section 148. Notice under section 148 can be issued within the following time period by the under method authority. Any amount of the income is escaping assessment within 3 months from the end of relevant assessment year, and we know this. ठीक है. What about the income is escaped more than 50 lakh? 10 year. 10 year from the end of relevant assessment year. हाँ, there are some more things amended in this section which is saying in case of search and seizure and all, 15 days is going to be granted. ठीक है. So approval from whom? In case of 3 years, right? CIT, PCIT, DIT, PDIT. And what if it exceeds 3 years? In that case, the principal chief commissioner, the principal director general, then chief commissioner, director general, where there is no PCC or PDG. ठीक है. Let's go for the 150 case which is saying the unlimited time period. ठीक है. Provision for the cases where the assessment in pursuance of order of the appeal. There are 2 cases. ठीक है. In cases of unlimited time period, let's find out. Notwithstanding anything contained under section 149, 149 कौन सा वाला, टाइम लिमिट वाला, ठीक है. सो होप सो दिस इज क्लियर. यस, ठीक है. द नोटिस अंडर सेक्शन 148 may be issued at any time for purpose of making an assessment or reassessment or recomputation under section कौन सा 147 in consequences or to give effect to any finding or direction contained in order passed by authority in proceeding under this act by way of appeal, reference or revision or by court in any proceeding under any other law. Okay, and the above provision that will be no time issue under section 148 shall however not apply where any such assessment or reassessment under section 150 subsection 1 related to the assessment year in respect of which assessment or reassessment could not have been made at the time the order which was subject matter of appeal, reference or revision, and as such case may be was made by the reason of any other provision limiting the time within which any action for the assessment or reassessment has taken place. Okay, so these are the two cases where the unlimited time period is given. Okay, let's go for section 152 subsection 2. This is about the dropping of assessment. Okay, an assessee may claim that the proceeding under section 147 against him shall be dropped if he has not filed any appeal under section 246A, 248 or any revision under section 264 against any part of original assessment order that on that year. ठीक है, so under these three section, under section 1 to 246A, under section 248 और under section 264 revision वाला, ठीक है, rectification वाला, ठीक है. So in these case the assessing officer can drop the case, or if he shows that he had been assessed on the amount not lower than what he would be rightly if liable for, even if the income alleged to have escaped assessment had been taken into account or the assessment or computation have been properly made. There are some cases where the assessing officer can drop the case. First of all, in these section 246A, ठीक है, 248 and 264, ठीक है. And second case where the assessee is saying that the income which I have shown in written is not lower than the reassessment and all, ठीक है. In that case also the assessing officer can drop the return, ठीक है, drop the assessment under section 152 subsection 2. Okay, so remember the section. Now what is the time limit? Time limit for complete the process of assessment of section. Now you don't tell me that 3-year time limit and 10-year time limit is going to be happen here. No. That is a time limit for issue of notice. Okay, this is the time limit for making the assessment. Okay, completing the assessment. So within 12 months from the end of financial year in which notice under section 148 was served. So notice under section 148 was served 12 months from the end of financial year in which this notice was served. Okay, so 12 month end of financial year, okay, it is to be completed, the assessment is to be completed. Now let's go for section 151A assessment, which is faceless assessment of income escaping assessment. The central government is empowered to notify a faceless scheme for the purpose of scheme under section 147, 148, 148A, 151 to ensure great efficiency, transparency, accountability by eliminating the interference between the income tax authority and assessee or any other person to extend technologically feasible optimization, utilization of resources through the economic of scale, functional specialization including a team-based assessment, reassessment, recomputation, or issuance or sanction of notice with dynamic junction. Which is, they are simply saying in future that's going to, these processes are going to be faceless. Okay, so we are going to be unable to see the face of assessing officer. Okay, so to increase this smooth flow of tax procedure and all, okay, to simply in way can I say to decrease the corruption. Okay, okay ji, to remove the bribe from the department. Okay, from the income tax department and all. So it's going to be faceless assessment in the future, and this section is of 151A. So can I say faceless assessment is of section 151A? टाइम लिमिट वॉज ऑफ 153 सबसेक्शन 2, ठीक है, ड्रॉपिंग ऑफ असेसमेंट 152 सबसेक्शन 2, एंड लेटर ऑन व्हाट द टाइम unlimited time limit for 2 cases, section 150. Okay, what about the 151? 151 was of higher authority. 149 was the time limit for issuance of 148 wala. ठीक है, so hope so this section was clear. Can I make it very in short? So can I say now section 147 income escape under this section, ठीक है, reassessment वाला section, ठीक है, 147 step 1 procedure under section 148A is to be followed, right? Then 148 notice is served along with this 148A का order, ठीक है, then reassessment is done. Okay, so what are the cases? The notice, once the notice is served under 148A, ठीक है, the order, once the fulfilling of 148A वाला order, in that case inquiry is done, opportunity of being heard is given, 7 time limit, 30 is going to be time limit, ठीक है, then once on the basis of material factors and all, assessing officer is going to determine whether the SSC should issue the notice, should be issued to him or not under section 148, ठीक है, so on that basis he have to take the approval from the higher authority again. Okay, so notice is served along with 148A subsection D to the SSC, ठीक है, but there are 3 things which is to be mentioned, right? That if the department is having information regarding the income escape of the SSC, second, of whom what the higher authority approval is to be taken under section 151, ठीक है ना, and third 148A वाला procedure is to be followed. Hope so this is clear, ठीक है. What is the time limit from issuance of notice? The SSC have to make the reassessment, I mean he have to refile the return, ठीक है, that is 3 months from the end of issue of notice, right, or the extension time period which is given by the assessing officer. Hope so up to this is clear. Okay, there is, yes, we have covered 150, 152 which is of dropping of assessment, ठीक है, which means simply we can say if every procedure is followed by SSC, दया करके assessing officer can drop the assessment, ठीक है. टाइम लिमिट विच इज़ 12 मंथ, 12 मंथ फ्रॉम कब से? 148 वाला नोटिस, ठीक है, तब से, राइट, फ्रॉम इश्यू ऑफ नोटिस अंडर सेक्शन 148 फ्रॉम द एंड ऑफ 12 मंथ ऑफ what financial year, ठीक है ना. होप सो दिस इज क्लियर. एंड फेसलेस असेसमेंट ऑफ 151A, okay, that is going to be happen in future. Let's go for the last section of rectification of error, guys, ठीक है. when it's going to be happen, rectification of mistake is going to be done under section 154 either by this own motion or the sui motu, own motion or the sui motu, ठीक है, which means income tax authority can rectify a mistake which is apparent on the record, any order passed by the authority, intimation under section 143 subsection 1 and TDS TCS intimation under section 200A 206B CB subsection 1. So if rectification is done either on own motion, ठीक है, it should be rectified within 4 years from the end of financial year in which the order containing mistake was passed. So what if on the basis of rectification is done on the basis of application by the applicant, by the SSC, right? So in that case within 6 months from the end of month in which application was received by IT authority, the rectification is to be done, okay. What happens if the rectification was done on own motion? In that case within how much time limit? 4 years, ठीक है, within 4 years from the end of financial year. In that case, in the second case applicant वाला SSC, ठीक है, within 6 months, ठीक है. Hope so this is clear. Let's go for it now. Rectification by income tax authority when mistake apparent from the record with a view to rectify any mistake apparent from the record, and income tax authority referred in section 166 may amend or order passed by it under the provision of act or amend by intimation or deemed to be intimation under section 143 subsection 1 or amend any intimation under section 201. Rectification can be done by for any matter other than the matter considered and decided in the appeal and revision. So in this case rectification cannot be done, in which case other than, ठीक है, which means the considered and decided in appeal and revision is not going to be done for rectification. Rectification don't apply in this case, appeal and revision wala case. So do you think there is some prescribed procedure and all? No, there is no sir prescribed procedure and all. You have to simply file in income tax authority portal and all. ठीक है, there is no as such format in this case. ठीक है, the authority concerned may make an amendment of in own motion and shall make such amendment if such mistake which have been brought it to be the to its notice by the SSC, either by own motion or by the notice which is given by the SSC. ठीक है, or notice by the deductor, and where the authority concerned its commissioner by the assessing officer also. Opportunity of being heard is definitely going to be granted here also. ठीक है, is necessary if rectification result into enhancement. Order of rectification shall be in writing where any such amendment has effect of reducing the assessment or otherwise reducing the liability of SSC or the deductor. Refund shall be granted to the assessing or the deductor. Where any such amendment has the effect of enhancing the assessment or reducing a refund already made or otherwise increasing the liability of the SSC or deductor, the assessing officer shall serve on the SSC or deductor as the case may be notice of the demand in the prescribed form specifying the sum which is sums payable, and such notice of demand shall be deemed to be issued under section 156, and no amendment under section, which means the rectification is to be done from the forend from the end of financial year in which suo motu, ठीक है, and other case within 6 months from the end of in which application was received by the income tax authority and all. ठीक है, so this was all about the everything which I have covered. ठीक है, so almost I have covered every sections here. Okay, so let's go for some questions. I'll be very quick guys. ठीक है, I don't take more time of yours, so let's be very quick. ठीक है, we know this, and this was the question from past year question paper of CMA final. ठीक है, so let's go for it now. Mr. X, an individual age 80 years, had gross total income 650 and he is eligible for deduction under section 160. 1,60,000. So you have to tell me whether he is required to file the return or not. ठीक है, so let's go for it now. Yes, as per the provision 1391, every person whose total income without giving effect of the chapter 6 or section 54B, D, EC, F, G. ठीक है, without giving effect to 54 B, D, EC, G, F, G, ठीक है, and GA exceeds the maximum amount which is not chargeable to tax is required to furnish the return for the relevant assessment year on or before the due date. The gross total income X before deduction was 6,50,000, which exceeds the basic exemption of filer, which is definitely, then in this case you have to file the return. ठीक है, so what about the second case? AB is a partnership firm. ठीक है, partnership firm, and they have a loss of 10,000. Now you have to tell me they have to file the return or not. Yes, it is mandatory for the firm to file the return. Okay, let's go for the third. A registered association eligible for exemption under section 1023B has income from the house property 2,60,000. Now you have to tell me they have to file the return or not. Compulsory. Yes. So as per section 1394C, every institution referred to section 1023B whose total income without giving effect to the provision of section 10 exceed the maximum and not chargeable to tax is required to furnish the return of income for the relevant assessment year on or before due date. Okay, so in this case the house property before giving the exemption under section 10 which exceeds to like 50,000, definitely they have to file the return. Okay, so last Mr. Y is an employee ABC P Limited, draws salary 490 and has income from the fixed deposit. Definitely, ठीक है, as per the provision 139, every person whose total income without giving effect provision 6A or section 54B, D, EC, F, G, GA, GB, ठीक है, and exceed the maximum amount not chargeable to tax is required to furnish a return income for the relevant assessment year or before due date. The gross total income of Mr. Y is 5 lakh, which is 490, and 10,000, which exceed the basic limit of 2,50,000 applicable to the individual, and therefore Mr. Y has to furnish his return of income for assessment year 2023 and 24. ठीक है, so I was a little bit quick, पर कोई बात नहीं, we have to cover the revision now. So hope so I have covered the major topics. Okay, and what you have to do the revision properly. You have no more time. ठीक है, do your revision properly, that's it, nothing else. Stay hydrated, stay healthy, and that's it. Don't get distracted to the mobile phone and social medias and all. pay your attention to your studies, make your target and do it properly, and at the end you'll feel good definitely once you have completed your all of the target, take care of revisions, completing the chapters, going through the previous year question papers and all, you'll get a relief from that. ठीक है कि हाँ आज का target complete हो गया, मज़े आ गए. ठीक है, what else? Nothing else. That's it guys, we'll meet in our next session, next video. This is Soumya Santosh. Toodles guys, bye.